Zara watched the human male through the observation deck of her ship. The silver vessel hung in space above the third planet of this system. She had been tracking him for weeks now. His name was Jake Murphy, and he was different from the other humans. Her species, the Villani, had ruled this sector for over 1,000 years. They were taller than humans with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Their technology was far beyond what these primitive beings could imagine. Yet something about this one, human, troubled her. Jake worked as a mechanic on Mining Station 7. He fixed broken equipment and kept the oxygen flowing. His hands were always dirty with grease and metal dust. The other humans respected him. But Zara saw something else in his eyes, a fire that burned brighter than the others. The Villani Council had ordered her to study human behavior before they began the harvest. Humans would make good workers in their factories. Their small size and quick movements were perfect for detailed tasks. Zara was supposed to observe and report, nothing more. But Jake Murphy kept doing things that made no sense. 3 days ago, she watched him give his food rations to a sick child. The child was not his family, not his friend, just another human on the station. Jake went hungry that night, but the child lived yesterday. She saw him volunteer for the most dangerous repair job on the station. The radiation levels could have killed him. He spent 6 hours in that death trap fixing the main reactor while others stayed safely away. When he came out, his skin was burned and his body weak, but the station was saved. Today he discovered something that changed everything. Zara had planted listening devices throughout the station. We heard Jake talking to his friend Amy about strange readings in the outer sectors. Ships that should not exist moving in patterns that made no sense. Jake was smart enough to figure out what was coming. The harvest was supposed to be a surprise. The Villani fleet would arrive, capture the humans, and transport them to work camps across the galaxy. It was efficient and had worked on dozens of other worlds. But Jake was putting pieces together. Amy Carter was the station communications officer. She had blonde hair and green eyes that reminded Zara of the forests on her homeworld. Amy trusted Jake more than anyone else on the station. When he told her about the strange signal she listened, Zara knew she should report this to her commanders. The humans were becoming aware of the threat. They might try to fight or run away. But something inside her hesitated. She kept watching. Jake spent the next day gathering evidence. He broke into restricted areas and copied classified files. He was breaking human laws, but he did not care. The safety of his people mattered more than rules. Zara had never seen such dedication in her own species. That evening, Jake called a secret meeting in the lower cargo bay. 20 humans came, including Amy, and the station commander, Lisa Brooks. They were scared, but they listened as Jake explained what he had discovered. Ships were coming. Large ships with technology beyond human understanding. The humans would be taken as slaves unless they found a way to fight back. Most species surrendered when faced with Villani power. But Jake had a different idea. He wanted to send a warning to Earth. The communication system could reach the human homeworld, but it would take enormous power. They would need to overload the main reactor and risk destroying the entire station. Jake was willing to die to save billions of humans he had never met. Amy tried to stop him. She grabbed his arm and begged him to find another way. Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke about all the people on the station who would die. Jake looked at her with such tenderness that Zara felt something strange in her chest. But Jake went further. He explained that Earth had been developing new weapons and defensive systems. If they could warn the homeworld, the humans might stand a chance. The Villani had never faced serious resistance before. They relied on surprise and overwhelming force. Lisa Brooks, the station commander, was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and tired eyes. She had seen too many people die in mining accidents. She did not want to lose more lives, but she also understood what slavery would mean for humanity. She gave Jake permission to try. The plan was dangerous and probably hopeless. They would need to work together in ways humans rarely did. Jake assigned tasks to everyone. Amy would handle the communication systems. Lisa would manage power distribution. Others would create diversions to hide their activities. Zara watched all of this from her hidden cameras. She should have warned her fleet immediately. The humans were planning something that could interfere with the harvest. but she found herself fascinated by their courage. The next morning, Jake began his work. He crawled through maintenance shafts and rewired control systems. His hands moved with skill and confidence, even though he knew each step brought him closer to death. Amy worked beside him, coding the warning message that would travel across the galaxy to Earth. Hours passed, and Zara realized something terrible. She did not want the harvest to succeed. These humans, with their strange loyalty and willingness to sacrifice for others, deserved better than slavery. Jake Murphy had shown her something she had never seen in her own people. When the time came, Jake stood in the reactor chamber while Amy prepared to send the signal. The radiation would kill him within minutes, but he smiled at the communication screen and told Amy he was proud to know her. His last words were a joke about finally getting a day off from fixing broken equipment. The signal burst across space, carrying warnings about the Villani fleet and detailed information about their weapons and tactics. It would reach Earth in 3 days. Long before the harvest ships arrived, Amy cried as the station shook from the power surge, but the message was sent. Zara made her choice. She activated her ship emergency beacon and sent a false distress signal to the Villani fleet. It would delay their arrival by 2 days and give Earth more time to prepare. When her commanders demanded an explanation, she would tell them the humans had developed unexpected defenses. As Jake died in the reactor chamber, Zara whispered words her species used for fallen warriors. She did not know if he could hear her across the vacuum of space, but she hoped somehow he would understand. The harvest fleet would still come. But now they would face prepared humans, with advanced warning. Jake Murphy had given his species a fighting chance. Zara had helped him do it, and she was not sorry. 3 days later, Earth received the message Amy had broadcast. The human military mobilized their newest weapons and defensive systems. When the Villani fleet arrived, they found not helpless prey, but determined fighters ready to defend their freedom. The battle lasted 6 hours and ended in complete defeat for the Villani. Zara was captured and brought before human commanders. They expected her to beg for mercy or offer information about her people. Instead, she asked to visit Jake Murphy's grave. Amy escorted her to the memorial garden on Mining Station 7. Jake's name was carved in stone, along with words that made Zara proud. She tried to stop him. He went further. Amy explained that Jake had become a symbol of human courage and sacrifice. Zara spent the rest of her life working with humans to build peace between their species. She never forgot the mechanic who showed her what real strength looked like, and she made sure his story was told across the galaxy. In the end, Jake Murphy did more than save his people. He changed the heart of an enemy and proved that sometimes going further is the only choice that matters.